today is the science of the absolute. And you know, I was really fascinated to know and to realize that when Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of our philosophy, when he first began this movement, his philosophy, it was called the science of the absolute. I just thought that was really interesting because I'd never heard that before. So there's three things that I want to talk about as far as the science of absolute goes. The things that originally and initially Ernest Holmes taught us. And the first thing was what I call the metaphysical mathematics. 1 plus 1 is 1. 1 times 5 is 1. 1 times 7 billion is 1. 1 times trillions to the like power of gazillion is 1. And that means that there is only 1. We can play around and we can divide it and we can separate it and we can make it into little boxes all we want to. But the truth of the matter is there is only 1. It is all God. We are one of the one. One in the one. And no matter how we play with mathematics, the truth is always, the answer is always 1. And the second thing that was very powerful and continues to be powerful in our teaching is that what we think, what we say, comes back to us. That our words are creative. Our thoughts are creative. So what you're thinking right now, you're putting into the universe, into that one, and it's going to come back in whatever way that you want it to come back. You're in charge of your thoughts. So Ernest said this, and I love this line. He said, the basis of all misery, want, lack, sorrow, poverty, and disease is a belief in duality. This belief in duality must be absolutely rejected and forgotten forever. So when we believe in duality, we are playing with the mathematics of the universe. We're subdividing and making arbitrary decisions about separation. Sorry. So Ernest Holmes always also said this, and this I think is really an important point that we want to talk about today. He said, a thought exists until it accomplishes its purpose, since the subjective, the infinite, cannot deny anything. Let me read that again. A thought exists until it accomplishes its purpose, since the subjective, the infinite, cannot deny us anything. So, today, we are on the cusp of celebrating Martin Luther King's birthday. So when we say that a thought exists until it's accomplished, we are still at action. We're still at action with Martin Luther King's belief in unity and belief that we are all one. So we're still operating on the universal level on the belief of Martin Luther King, who had a dream, who had been to the mountain. And that thought, that prayer, that declaration of purpose still is with us today. and we're acting on it. Also, Ernest Holmes was asked this question: is there life after death? And he replied this: I don't see how there can be life after death. There can't be any. There's no life after death because there is no death. It is just a continuation of life. I love that stuff. So, Martin Luther King is still with us. He is a continuation of his own life. His words that he put into law are still acting in the universe. They must be until they are accomplished. We also are on the cusp of Ernest Holmes' birthday. His birthday was January 21st, 1887. Wow. So Ernest Holmes is still alive and well with us. His thoughts are still being created. His prayers and his beliefs in a world that works for everyone is still in action in our lives. We also are on the cusp of the season for nonviolence, which begins on January the 30th. And the season of nonviolence begins on January the 30th, which is the anniversary date of Gandhi's death. And it runs for 24 days, culminating in the anniversary death of Martin Luther King. 64 days of the season of nonviolence. 64 ways that we can practice being at peace and fulfilling the law's expectation of Martin Luther King's belief in peace, nonviolent peace. So I have put out on this back table, back over there in front of the mirror, some suggestions of how to live in peace in your life for 64 days. And there's also some little peace doves back there too, if you would like to commit yourself to giving the 64 days of peace a go, you're welcome to that. If they're not enough, we'll make more copies, except that I broke the copier.
You're giving it a peaceful rest.
I don't know that language. But anyway, somebody will fix it. I know. So, here are some of the suggestions for, I don't have those, for the way that we can practice nonviolence in our lives. And probably first and foremost, the most important is to declare and claim nonviolence against yourself. Because when we're at peace with ourselves, that reaches out and that touches all others. So each time that you criticize yourself, you judge yourself, you're angry with yourself, you are practicing violence against yourself. Each time you judge and criticize someone else, you're also practicing violence against them. Violence doesn't have to be a poke in the nose. It is being out of harmony with the universe. It is being out of that one harmonious essence that we call the One. It's being out of resonance with the divine. It's believing in duality. It's believing that somehow I am separate from you. That somehow I am different. And somehow perhaps I'm not good enough. You're not good enough. We're not good enough. That other country isn't good enough. Those people are not good enough because they're not like me. And the truth of the matter is, cosmic mathematics, there is only one. And when we stand in that deep knowing that there is no separation, there's no duality, there's only harmony, there's only oneness. When we stand in that knowing on the deepest level of our being, then we are truly at peace. And then the world has the potential, it cannot be otherwise, of being at peace. There's a story about Martin Luther King that I really liked because it says so much about who he was, actually. His home was bombed. His children were in the house, as was his wife, Coretta. He was not present. So he rushed home and discovered that everybody was safe. And at the same time that he was rushing home, crowds of people had gathered outside of his house with guns and sticks and anger. And in the midst of the destruction of his home, he declared peace. And he sent that crowd home. He said, no, we do not respond to violence with violence. We respond to violence with love. And he sent everybody home, and he diffused that angry riot that was stirring itself up. That's powerful, I believe. Would I stand in that kind of that kind of strength? Would I say no? We turn the other cheek. We live in harmony, no matter what. So that kind of behavior, that kind of statement into the law is what we are responding to now. And despite whatever the news media may say, we are growing closer and closer and closer to that harmony, to that peace. So one of the suggestions for the 64 days of nonviolence is to turn the TV off. Step away from the news. Because it gives us a skewed view of the news. All over the world, people are praying for peace. We don't hear about that. We don't hear about how people want harmony and peace in their lives and the steps that they're taking to make that happen. We only hear on the news about the bombings and the suicide bombs and the mayhem, because for whatever reason that sells papers. You know, Gandhi said, be the peace that you seek. How simple that statement is. It's maybe overdone, but it's so true. Peace is right here, right now. within me, within this room. And as we move out into the larger community, holding our light, allowing harmony and peace to fill us, we are taking action to fulfill Martin Luther King's dream, because it's in the universe. And it cannot be lost until it is fulfilled. Let me read that one more time. A thought exists until it accomplishes its purpose, since the subjective, the infinite, cannot deny anything. We cannot be denied. Martin Luther King's dream and prayer for peace cannot be denied. Gandhi's belief in peace cannot be denied. It's still in the universe. It's still at play. It's still in action. And it's up to each one of us to do the little bit and piece of it that we can to fulfill that prayer. So I love you all. I wish you peace on the deepest level. Namaste. I invite the practitioners to stand and join with me as we surround this room with love, with peace. Reminding you of the sheets of actions that you can take over the next 64 days, and the little doves of peace. So join with me. In this quiet moment, in this quiet hour, I allow my heart to be filled with that deeper knowing. I allow my heart to be filled with peace. And as we move forward in this time to honor those whose shoulders we are standing upon, Martin Luther King, Ernest Holmes, Gandhi, Cesar Chavez, Nelson Mandela. I allow myself to stand as an example for the fulfillment of their prayers. I allow harmony to fill my life. I allow myself to move into that quiet, still place, knowing that disharmony and discord has no power in my life. And I allow myself, and I make a commitment to myself to take small steps to honor these divine heroes and to live my life as an example of their example. So with quiet conviction, I daily make a choice to be the answer to Martin Luther's prayer, Ernest Holmes' prayer, Gandhi's prayer, to to be peaceful, to be in harmony, to truly, deeply, genuinely love my neighbor as myself. So I celebrate that opportunity. And I call upon you to examine your heart and see if you can also, in the name of the unifying one, the one that is all there is, to stand in that peace and that harmony also. So with gratitude, I celebrate this place, this spiritual community, this pocket of humanity and of peace, knowing that it is multiplied across the world 100,000, 1,000,000, and one time. And I give thanks. And I invite you to do the same with me as we declare it done, as we say, and so it is. Thank you, practitioners.